It was supposed to be a routine political showdown, just another Tuesday in Washington. But when a young African leader took the stage, he didn't just speak. He shattered silence, cut through power, and made a nation look in the mirror. This is the story of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the soldier who silenced a U.S. senator with one unforgettable line. Washington, D.C., where politicians flash practiced smiles for cameras and spar with rehearsed words. But on this day, something unexpected landed on Captain Ibrahim Traoré's desk. An invitation from the American Debate Forum, America's most watched political talk show. Senator JD Vance, a sharp Republican from Ohio, was set to appear, and oddly, so was Traoré, the young respected leader from Burkina Faso. The producers called it a global leadership spotlight. But insiders knew the truth. This was a setup. JD Vance had already teased on social media. It was time to expose some of these so-called heroes. Online, the internet roared. Some mocked Traoré, others defended him. But he accepted the invitation without hesitation. When asked why, he simply said, "Truth doesn't fear the microphone." As Traoré boarded the plane, the air felt heavy. This wouldn't be an ordinary conversation. Behind the scenes, Vance wasn't preparing for a debate, but a takedown. In the cold green room, Traoré sat calm, not in a Western suit, but in his crisp military fatigues. His face was unreadable. His eyes told the story of years of hardship, nights without sleep, a heart devoted to his people. Nearby, Vance was all smiles, confident, joking with the makeup team. But an intern watching Traoré from the corner trembled. Something about him felt different, real, and quietly powerful. When the red light blinked live, the battle began. Vance leaned in, voice smooth but sharp. "Captain Traoré, you lead a country most Americans couldn't find on a map. What qualifies you to speak about leadership here?" Laughter rippled from the studio, but Traoré didn't blink. He listened. Vance pressed on. "Your country's economy is smaller than some American neighborhoods. You rose to power through force, yet you lecture us on justice and peace. I find that rich." A tense silence fell. This wasn't a debate. It felt like public humiliation. But Traoré waited, calm as ever. Then, softly, like thunder wrapped in velvet, he said just one line. "In my country, people die for bread. In yours, they die of loneliness." The studio stopped breathing. Cameras froze. Across America, millions leaned closer to their screens, hearts pounding. This wasn't what anyone expected. The silence that followed was not empty. It was soul-piercing. Vance tried to laugh it off, but no sound came. Social media exploded. Clips of Traoré's raw honesty flooded TikTok and Twitter, captioned, "The African soldier who silenced a U.S. senator." Backstage, the intern whispered, "How can someone carry so much pain and still smile?" The war of words had ended. The war of truth had begun. Back on set, Vance attempted to regain control. "America gives billions in aid every year," he argued. "Why don't you recognize that?" Traoré's reply was steady, calm as a river before a flood. "You don't give us aid. You give us interest-bearing loans in exchange for silence, minerals, and drones flying over our skies without asking." Gasps filled the studio. The host blinked, stunned. Vance looked like he'd been slapped. Online, viewers erupted. He wasn't angry, he was telling the truth. The power dynamic shifted. Vance wasn't debating a soldier, he was facing a living witness. Then Traoré pulled a worn letter from his jacket pocket, the only speech he'd ever needed, written by his father, who died protecting their neighbors when Traoré was just 15. "Son, remember our country may be poor, but never let your heart be led with dignity, not fear. Fight only when others have no strength left to fight. And if they laugh at your struggle, let them. The day will come when even their pride kneels to your truth." His voice broke as he read. Tears filled the host's eyes. The studio was silent. This wasn't politics anymore. This was pain, love, reality. Vance tried to pivot, questioning Burkina Faso's flaws. But Traoré looked into the camera. When a mother buries her child without a casket, She doesn't care about perfect. She prays for peace. When a soldier walks 20 miles barefoot with one bullet to defend his village, he asks not for pity, but respect. The studio held its breath. Vance's confident mask began to crack. He saw something undeniable, a truth more powerful than applause. As the show neared its end, Vance's phone buzzed frantically backstage. Missed calls, messages urging him to turn the narrative around. Traoré shared one last story, a girl who walked 3 days to their base, barefoot and scared, her village destroyed. She survived. Now she teaches others to write their names. Her first word was hope. The host, once mocking his accent, now cried openly. Vance turned pale. He came to humiliate, but met something America had long forgotten. A leader forged by loss, speaking from scars. Across the country, an elderly veteran watching whispered, "I don't know that man, but I trust him." Back on stage, Vance forced a smile and asked, "Captain, why should America care what you think?" Traoré's answer cut deeper than any speech. "Because your bombs found our soil long before your empathy ever did. And yet, we still welcomed your aid, treated your journalists with tea, not guns. We believed your democracy meant respect. If the size of a nation is measured by its voice, then why do small coffins hurt more?" Silence. The studio lights dimmed, commercials rolled, but no one moved. Backstage, a technician whispered, "Did that really just happen?" Social media was ablaze. Clips went viral mid-broadcast. A retired civil rights activist said, "That boy spoke for every silent soul this country forgot." Alone, Traoré bowed his head in quiet reflection. An intern handed him water. "Thank you, my brother," he said softly. "It's the smallest gestures that keep a man standing." Vance's team ordered him to silence Traoré at all costs. But Vance had no plan. He was losing the battle of souls. When the host asked for final words, Traoré held up a child's drawing. Stick figures, a soldier, a flag, 2 hands reaching out. It belonged to Thomas, a boy lost in a bombing. "I didn't protect him," Traoré whispered, "but I lead because some children never get the chance to grow old." The host and cameraman wept. Traoré's closing words were a plea. "If America still believes in humanity, hear us. We don't need your pity. We need your partnership." Applause erupted, not for a politician, but for dignity. Days later, an envelope arrived. A letter from Emily, 12, whose soldier brother died far away. "When you spoke, it was like he finally got to speak." Traoré held the letter beside Thomas's drawing. 2 children, 2 worlds, one shared pain. The janitor nearby whispered, "You said what none of us could." Weeks later, a flight attendant told Traoré she played his words for her son. "Now he wants to build schools, not play video games. He thinks you're a superhero." Traoré chuckled. "No, madam. I'm just a man making sure children don't need heroes to survive." Back home in Burkina Faso, students greeted him with signs, "Even America heard you, Papa." Across the ocean, American families watched his interviews, inspired. A father tweeted, "My 7-year-old asked what a real man looks like. I showed him Traoré." The New York Times asked if his words were political strategy. "No," he said softly. "It was the truth, spoken from a heart that buried too many children." Asked what he'd say to Senator Vance today, Traoré smiled. "I would thank him. Without his question, I might never have told the world what I told myself all these years, that our children are worth more than war, that even in fire, hope can speak." That sentence went viral again, this time with tears, unity, and respect. If this story moved you, changed how you breathe or think, like this video, subscribe for more stories that speak to your soul, and share one word in the comments, so others can feel it too. Because sometimes one sentence can change a heart, one voice can change the world, and your one comment might start the next conversation. Let's keep listening. Let's keep feeling.